はい、皆さんこんにちは。お久しぶりです。今日はですね、先月5月にアメリカがなんと320億ドルもかけてガザ地区に港を作ったんですが、その件についてお話ししたいと思います。まずその理由がですね、人道支援として物資を運ぶための仮の港ということです。これはバイデン大統領が3月に発表して、なんと3ヶ月以内に完成しました。で、5月17日から物資を届け始めたとのことなんですが、なんと1週間後、強風で壊れてしまったそうです。これを作るのに320億ドル。そしてこれを直すのにまた税金がかかるってことですよね。アメリカの税金を使い、しかも国連では停戦に反対していたアメリカが、なぜそこまでしてこの港を作らなければいけないのか、少し調べてみたので皆さんに紹介していきたいと思います。
Gas companies, aided by US gas companies, is siphoning gas from the Gaza Strip and its reserves held off the shore of Gaza.
It is forbidden for an occupying power to take possession of immovable assets, and that includes natural gas, without the permission of the local population. That means Israel would be allowed, theoretically, to allow Palestinian companies to exploit their own gas, provided that all of the income from that gas would be used for the benefit of the Palestinian population. That is allowed under international law. But once Israeli companies are taking natural resources from an occupied territory and then repackaging it or giving it a different label and calling it Israeli gas and selling it mainly to Europe, also to Jordan and other places, without disclosing the fact that some of that gas has been siphoned off from the Gaza Strip, they are actually committing an act of pillage. And that is a very serious offense, punishable by international law.
In an unprecedented move, Israel has announced it will work alongside Egypt and the Palestinian Authority to develop the Gaza Marine Gas Field, a gas reserve off the coast of the Hamas-run Gaza enclave. The gas field, which sits just about 30 kilometers off the Gazan coast, is estimated to hold more than 1 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Discovered over 20 years ago, the gas has remained untouched due to the ongoing conflict between Israel and the Palestinian enclave. But now, with the West looking for alternative energy sources after distancing itself from Russia following the invasion of Ukraine, all parties involved are willing to make new strides. In a statement earlier this morning, the Israeli Prime Minister's office citing economic reasons for the move.
In the framework of the existing efforts between the State of Israel, Egypt, and the Palestinian Authority, with emphasis on Palestinian economic development and maintaining security stability in the region, it has been decided to develop the Gaza Marine Gas Field off the coast of Gaza.
The Egyptian-owned eGas is expected to develop the field, pumping out more than enough gas needed for the Palestinian territories, allowing for the rest to be exported and provide vital income for the cash-strapped PA.
Gaza is rich, gas rich, at least 1.4 trillion cubic feet rich, to be precise. But there's a catch.
Geologists and natural resources economists have confirmed that the occupied Palestinian territory lies above sizable reservoirs of oil and natural gas wealth in Area C of the occupied West Bank and the Mediterranean coast off the Gaza Strip. To date, the real and opportunity costs of the occupation exclusively in the area of oil and natural gas have accumulated to tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars.
Back in 1999, signed a deal with British Gas. Just off the Gaza coast, they struck it lucky, and 2 wells were drilled. That's Gaza Marine 1 and 2. It was a multi-billion-dollar gift from God, an economic boon both home and abroad.
This is one of the key messages here today. There will be gas available for export. And from my conversations with Palestinian officials, including President Arafat, it is clear that they have no interest in just sitting on a gas surplus.
Fast forward to 2007, Hamas comes to power, and Israel launches an offensive on the Gaza Strip, leaving behind 1,400 dead Palestinians. Now, within the year, Israel announced the discovery of the Leviathan natural gas field, which did include Gaza's riches, all in all valued at $453 billion. As for Tel Aviv, well, it's gunning to become a new hub.
This is a historical moment in which the small country of Israel becomes a significant player in the global energy market. The Memorandum of Understanding will enable Israel, for the first time, to export Israeli natural gas to Europe. To export Israeli natural gas to Europe. Looking at the significant set of agreements we signed over the last year, which position Israel and the Israeli energy and water sectors as a key global player.
Because in case you didn't know, US Congress has decided that Israeli energy is in the highest national security interests of Washington. So DC was only too happy for Tel Aviv to become a key global player. Let's just run through this then. At that moment in time, so we're talking 2022, Russian oil and gas was sanctioned. Iranian oil was sanctioned. Syrian oil fields were, and still are, illegally occupied by US forces. Now, the key port of Latakia was being bombed by Israel, and the port of Beirut, the gateway to the Middle East, lay in ruins.
Another interesting application of nuclear excavation would be a sea-level canal 160 miles long across Israel, connecting the Mediterranean with the Gulf of Aqaba, and thus the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. Such a canal would be a strategically valuable alternate to the present Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal is a gold mine. It connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean via the Red Sea. It is the link between Asia and Europe. Every day, almost 3 million barrels of oil, 8% of global LNG, 50 ships, $9 billion worth of cargo, 12% of global trade all pass along this, right here, single canal. Remember in 2021 how a container ship ran aground in the Suez? Global trade was brought to its knees. The alternative route via the Cape of Good Hope adds around 9 days and 7,000 kilometers to the journey. There is no replacement for the Suez Canal, except perhaps for the Ben Gurion Canal. And what the US had been thinking about back in the 60s was dropping 520 nukes on parts of Israel, all to build a 260-kilometer-long canal that would start at the Red Sea down there in the port city of Eilat, run through the Negev desert, and pour out into the Mediterranean. Where exactly? Right next to northern Gaza, the same northern Gaza that is currently being bombarded and depopulated. Egypt and its money-making Suez Canal would just be sidelined. The same Egypt that, rumor has it, is now considering taking in refugees in exchange for debt relief by the US. And if you think it's crude of me to talk business during times of an existential war, think again.
The winning companies have committed to unprecedented investment in natural gas exploration over the next 3 years, which would hopefully result in the discovery of new natural gas reservoirs.
In recent weeks, Tel Aviv has handed out 12 new licenses to 6 companies, on top of the plan to tap more of the Gaza marine resources. This area is a strategic gold mine. The Israelis have their largest foreign base down the Red Sea, just off Eritrea. And here a bit further down, Beijing has a naval base in Djibouti, a key piece in its enormous global infrastructure project, the Belt and Road, hated by London, Brussels, and Washington alike. Always ask yourself, cui bono, who benefits? Because war is horror and war is hell. But never forget that war, above all else, is big business.
It's a racket. とそういうことらしいですが、皆さんどう思われるでしょうか。皆さんのご意見コメント欄でお聞かせください。アメリカそして G7 が中心だった世界が変わっていくように思います。ただね、私たちの生活に支障がないようにしてほしいんですが、どうなるんでしょうか。特に日本、アメリカのね言いなりにならずに、日本の国民そして日本の国のために政府は考えてほしいと思います。あとこのガザ地区なんですが、一つもうすでにですね2035年のガザ地区の未来計画というものが先月イスラエルの新聞に掲載されていました。 で、関わっている会社がアメリカのトランプの義理の息子の会社ではないかという噂もあります。